Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, February 17th. The market's already open, but I'm not going to be getting into that stuff today. I'm going to be doing a video over building your financial fortress, as you can see here. First things, guys, is it has to be done brick by brick. You don't just build a house in a day, or else it's going to fall. You don't just do anything rushing it because it's usually going to have some sort of intricacy that you are not planning for that's going to hurt, right? So, building your financial fortress, right? Brick by brick. So, let's get right into it. So, the three pillars that I believe we are going to have to abide by, whether you're bringing in so and so much money or whatever, you're going to have to live by these three pillars. They are not necessarily easy, but they are groundbreaking in terms of building that foundation, no pun intended, for your financial fortress. So, first one is spending smart. Second one is eliminating debt. And then the last one is investing for tomorrow. Now, obviously, these are not anything new to people, but you really want to make sure that at the end of the day, you're tackling these three things before you splurge, before you book that next trip, before you don't stop life, obviously, but you always want to account for these three pillars, right? That you're chipping away slowly or rapidly, whatever you have in store. So, first and foremost, I like a quote that says, "Financial freedom isn't about how much you make." I think that's a big misconception. It's about how much you keep, right? And that's mostly up to you and your spending. And of course, your income, right? But it's not about what you bring in, it's about what you keep. And those three tenets that are a part of that quote are awareness, first of all, knowing where every dollar goes, not to be like neurotic about it, but you want to know, hey, where are my bills going? Where is my where are these subtle two, three, four, five, even $20 spendings going? So know that intentionality, right? Choosing your future self over temporary wants. Guys, we all have anecdotes. I'm a big basketball card collector, but those things add up. And then I open up a box and I say, wow, that was fun, but I didn't get anything. And then, of course, that money could have been used to invest. Now, again, don't halt your life. You still want to fill your cup with things that you enjoy, but you really, everything in moderation, and especially hobbies that are expensive. Consistency, and we're going to talk a lot about that. So small habits leading to massive wealth, even a daily habit, a weekly habit, even as little as $1 or $2, guys. It's just depending on what you can do. Now, if you're going to do a small amount like that, I would recommend going maybe weekly or monthly investing. The daily can get kind of not counterproductive, but you can just go with something more weekly, monthly, even yearly based if it's something small. So let's keep going. But you really want to invest as many opportunities as you can. So spending smart in the kitchen. I think this is a big high leverage point to talk about, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but not to read everything, but this is the invisible wealth drain, eating out, right? Let's say you save $12 a day instead of eating out, now you're cooking, you save $12 a day. That's over $3,000 a year. And guys, even if you don't hit that mark entirely, maybe you save 2,000, maybe you save 1,000, maybe you save $500, but that is money back in your pocket, right, for your next vacation or to start tackling those major debt payments, which we're going to talk about again. And then the benefits: better health, better skills, significantly larger bank account. Three for three in terms of pros, right? Cons: it's a little bit more work and a little bit more planning, right? But as you see here, a salad can go a long way. Chop up some rotisserie chicken from HEB, Walmart. Boom, you got a good meal. Shout out to HEB in Texas. And then, of course, you can keep it simple and delicious. I love a good sandwich, some fruit, some veggies. It's not hard. You just have to plan it out, right? So, meal prep Sundays, that's your action tip. This next Sunday, right? Today's Tuesday. You have some time to prep. Let's get next week in line for a good meal prep week, right? And you'll thank your wallet later. All right, so, oh man, the one I hate talking about the most: crushing debt, right? Reclaiming your income. Debt is an unseen thief. I'm clapping for that because it is. There's a lot of things that take your money, but debt is one that, oh man, it hurts, right? So the psychology behind tackling your debt, because I'm not, whether or not you have it is your case, but if you do, you can either hit the snowball method, which is paying the smallest balance first for that kind of morale win, right? Hey, I knocked it out, and let's go to the next one. Great. Or you can hit the avalanche method, especially if it's the highest interest rate, right? If you have anything over, 7 or 8, oh man, I would start tackling that, right? Especially if it's in the 20s or something like that. If you got into some sort of, financing and it just went longer than you thought, and now you're paying a crazy rate, just get that out of the way. I know it hurts, but you'll thank yourself later. This is all about forward thinking, just like investing. This is all about doing something today so that your tomorrow self is just a little bit more at ease, right? And eventually you do that daily over some years, and you'd be surprised as how financially free you can get. All right, so here is, I know this is a lot of words, but here's a daily, weekly, monthly investing strategy, right? Consistency over intensity. Oh, I can't afford to do $500 a week. That's okay. Maybe you do $20 a week, maybe $30 a week, whatever is up to you, right? Whatever fits your budget. So why does this work? Dollar cost averaging. So instead of trying to time the market, right, or trying to buy the dip, you're just investing consistently, right? Whether it's $10 a day, $50 a week, or $200 a month, right? I personally do every day. And I started off with what I would describe as about the amount of a cup of coffee. And now I'm all the way up to the amount of like a pretty, you know, high end fast food meal, I would say. It's not cheap and it's daily. This is what works for me, but I also had to start off small. I didn't know what would be my groove. And that's the thing about, you know, Robinhood and Fidelity is you can alter these investments. More so Robinhood if it's daily, you can alter it every day. So it's like, hey, I can't afford that in this month, and you know I'm going to budget differently. So you bring that investment back. But my advice, guys, is do not stop. Do not stop, especially if you kind of don't feel that money coming out on a daily or weekly basis. Let's keep it going, because I know the market's a little upside down right now, or a little sideways, but you know the stocks you see here, VOO, SCHD, SCHG, I think they're going to be good. So with drip, I think that's a big part of it, right? So drip is when you buy these stocks, VOO, SCHD, SCHG, they give you a dividend. Whether all three of these are quarterly. With that dividend and drip enabled, you just reinvest that dividend back into those stocks. That's how it compounds. That's how you grow over time. So for me, guys, I love it the most because I'm investing, but I'm not thinking about it. But I also need to make sure that I'm choosing wise stocks, right? So if you're going to go a little bit more risky, you know, Tesla, Amazon, Apple, the Magnificent Seven, those you can never go wrong. I saw somebody say they invest $2 a day in Tesla. I mean, why not? Why not? Now, you might want to check me on in terms of like how does it come out in terms of like your lots and all that. But I'm a long-term investor, so I don't see it being too much of an issue. Disclaimer, right here at the bottom. Some data shows that lump summing, which is like just throwing money at once, is more efficient on returns, right? So just want to throw that out there. I'm not a financial advisor, don't claim to be, but there is data out there that says lump summing, I think 75% of the time, is more productive. So you say, well, why don't you do that? Well, my personal system that works best for me is the way I do it. So whatever works best for you, I cannot make that decision for you. If you want to get financial advice, please find somebody who's certified. But at the end of the day, guys, what brings you peace? Knowing that you're being productive. Peace with productivity. All right, so start now. Here are some action items, right? Delete one or all of your food delivery apps, because that's going to be a silent killer that, you know, hey, it's easy to get food after a long day of work. Boom. But get up off the couch. I guarantee you your meal that you cook is not going to take as long as you think, right? Next, audit your last 30 days of spending. This was powerful for me. You know, doing it whenever I did, it was like, whoa, tacos, candy bar, you know, it's little things, right? And it's not like, you know, I still love to eat tacos and candy bars, but of course, limiting that, or maybe buying a more valuable pack of candy, right? And having it at my house, for some reason, I feel more disciplined to eat it more sporadically than if I go to a store and it's like, hey, let's just, you know, it's only $1, right? Or now candy's even $2.50. So think about that. You know, stuff is not, obviously inflation stuff is not as cheap as it used to be, right? And surprisingly, it's like gas is still moderately cheap. And I hope that stays that way. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this helped, and hit that like and subscribe, guys. That would be awesome. Talk to you guys later.